news here, according to Shams Charania, and the NBA has since announced it as well. Luka Doncic and Cade Cunningham will get their awards. The NBA and Players Union ruled in favor of the Lakers' Luka Doncic and the Pistons' Cade Cunningham on their challenge to the rule that players must play 65 games in order to qualify for postseason awards. Both fell one game short. This ruling means they are now eligible. Remember, Doncic missed 2 games in December because of the birth of his child abroad, and then Cunningham had a collapsed lung, which caused him to miss some time as well. Kenny the Jet Smith is back here with us. Kenny, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I think it's great that the great players get to be eligible for great awards. So at any point of that, I think there's always a positive to it. I do think that there is a threshold, and that 65-game number is, I think, a realistic threshold. I think that in these circumstances, you should be able to appeal. And these guys, one, not only were appealed it, but they actually will be part of the actual award ceremony. So there are people who can appeal the awards that would not be part of it. So yes, I do think that these extreme circumstances, a collapsed lung and things of that nature, you should be able to appeal if you're 1 to 2 games within the threshold. But if you drop down to 55 games, I don't think 55 games, no matter how great you play, you haven't made an impact on the season as someone else has.
Well, what happened if somebody breaks his leg with, I played 63 games? You're going to let him win the MVP award too? I mean,
if you make an impact on the season, you could appeal that. That's what I would say. You could appeal if you're in that threshold of 1 or 2 games. But if you drop down to 55 games, your impact on your team is not strong enough. But in 65 games, Cade Cunningham and Luka Doncic, their impact on their team and where they are in position is directly related to what their performances are.
I wouldn't put any games on it then. I mean, because, I thought...
Eliminate the rule.
Let's eliminate it. I mean, Bill Walton won an MVP one year. He played 59 games. Just eliminate it and don't put it in there. I know they're doing that to make you play the 65, but these two didn't, and they still are going to be eligible to win the award. So they should just eliminate the 65-game thing. That would be my argument there. Stevie?
Follow the money, number one. I mean, if you got the rule in place because obviously it was it came across as a dereliction of duty on the part of teams and on the part of some of the players, and they needed to do something to make the case that this is something that can't be tolerated, where these guys are missing an inordinate amount of games. So I agree with Kenny. 65 games is obviously a good threshold. If you just come a couple of games shy of that, obviously that's not intentional. You know what? But if you only playing 50, 55 games or less, hell no, you don't need to be eligible for an award. I like this because I like the fact that the NBA took into consideration these are legitimate injuries. This ain't load management or anything like that. A collapsed lung, Luka Doncic situation with the hamstring and stuff like that. Stuff happens. And when you take those into consideration and you have an appeals process in place where you're looking to look at things on a case-by-case basis, I think that's something that's more fair-minded, and it's something that the players can ill afford to refute. Nobody can complain about that when there's an appeal process in place and you're taking into account the severity of an injury that forced you to miss games, as opposed to you just missing because you needed a rest day or whatever the case may be. No, we're not going for that anymore. And that's what the league addressed, and I'm good with that. So I like the fact that Cade and Luka are both eligible because we know there's legitimate injuries as to why they missed games, not just rest.
And it's interesting, Stephen, how we've come full circle, because we started talking about the San Antonio Spurs Western Wembanyama, and this whole rule is because of the San Antonio Spurs when they started resting Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. Right. And here we are again talking about a rule that basically these guys have implemented, and the reason why there is load management and thought of that.
Right. All time, I know the producer's telling me to be quick. Listen, this is very, very important because what Kenny brought up is very, very important. This is how bad the San Antonio Spurs were. They had a game in Orlando years ago. The next night, it was a nationally televised game when Commissioner David Stern was the commissioner, God rest his soul. And Greg Popovich didn't play Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, or Tony Parker. How did we find out they weren't playing, Shay? Doggy. They were at a Chick-fil-A inside the airport in Orlando waiting to board a Southwest flight back to San Antonio. It was a TNT game, Kenny. Y'all had the game, and it was Miami going up against San Antonio, and we all was waiting for the game, and we found out that Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker wouldn't be playing because Greg Popovich was ticked off to David Stern and them for a back-to-back, so he sent them home on Southwest Airlines. Right. That's the kind of stuff Greg Popovich used to do.
Oh, the great Greg Popovich. All right, Kenny, thanks for joining us. More First Take after the break.
I think we can all say this might be the last time that we see it. So the world is not going to give, we just showed you the prohibitive favorites that Boston are. The world is going to give the Lakers no chance to win this series. And by the world, I mean all of us, including me. But Tam, let's do it. If they're going to shock the world, if the Lakers are going to stun everybody and find a way to win this series, how is it going to happen?
Well, LeBron James has to, have a time machine, basically. It's got to be the LeBron that we saw on some of those teams in Cleveland, that there wasn't a lot of talent around him. And he's putting up 35, 12, and 10, those type of games. Now, the NBA, they tried to help out. This schedule's got a few pockets of 2 or 3 days of rest in between games, but this has got to be – and then DeAndre Ayton's got to show up. He's got to be the player that he thinks he is. He's got to be dominating. He's got to win the matchup with Alperen Şengün. And I got to tell you, that sounds like a pretty good recipe for the Lakers to be let down.
And why are you laughing?
He going off his stats, man. He's killing me. He's killing me every time.
But LeBron, but let's not even think about who's going to have to be his running mate. I mean, who's going to have to do it? LeBron. I'm not even worried about LeBron. I'm going to say LeBron's going to show up and do
especially
whatever.
Game 1.
He's going to do as much as any 41-year-old in the history of the league has ever done in anything. But who's going to help him?
I think all of them are going to help in different ways. But I think the thing that they need to focus on, and it's what we focused on as the Cavaliers when we were banged up and we still were going far, and people like Bron taking just anybody to the finals. It's like the cool thing about that is when you're on a team with somebody like that can transform and do as many things as a LeBron can, your job is not to say, hey, our guys aren't in right now. I need to now transform and create opportunities for everybody. It's like, no, I need to stay within my role, and I need to say, hey, now Bron's going to have more possessions. He doesn't necessarily have to turn the hands of time back and say, hey, man, I got to be more athletic and do all the other things. He doesn't have to do that. He can still just take it calmly off a ball screen, and you go under because you don't respect it.
We saw him do it recently.
Exactly.
Triple-double. Like, we know he can do it, especially with the week's rest. What they need is J.J. Redick.
There we go.
To me, that's the most important second person with the Lakers is J.J. Redick, because he's done a great job this year coaching. He's not getting enough credit. But also, he has to devise a 3-and-D plan for at least Game 1, knowing LeBron's going to have probably the most in his battery for Game 1. And have his guys. You've got Hachimura. You've got Vanderbilt. You've got Marcus Smart. You've got guys that can defend and hit threes. Yeah. And you have the centerpiece in LeBron. That's the way. Keep it close. We know Houston has struggled sometimes in crunch time, and see if you can steal at home a Game 1 to extend the series.
If y'all could get it to the last couple of minutes.
Big J.J. Redick Game 1.
Get it to the last couple of minutes, it could be a game. But if you can't get it there with Houston, it is going to be over.
And is there any chance whatsoever if they can extend the series, they get one of their guys back?
Yeah.
That, I guess, is really the